telling about the poles. It is a way to build houses. The only condition is that you have to keep these poles completely underwater all the time. But that water is groundwater, so sometimes the level drops, then oxygen gets a chance to come in contact with the wet wood, and wood starts to rot.
It's an autopilot at the moment,
No, not
ladies and
really.
gentlemen.
No, not really.
Thank you so much. We're enjoying it so much.
Yes, we'll settle it when we
Unexpected.
arrive.
Well, there you go.
Thank you so
This
much.
white building that is royalty to Carré. This is the most
Yes,
It's a bonus.
always travel with someone that drinks, okay? Otherwise, you will experience the most boring moment of your
It was
life.
officially built as a circus theater, a permanent circus. And over there, that big building that you see,
Wow, it's chilled.
that is the Amstel Hotel.
Amazing.
This was the first built luxury hotel in Amsterdam. It was built in the late 1880s. And this was the first building with two meanings. The first meaning is sharp angle, so the wall made a sharp corner here in this location. And the second meaning of this old Dutch is kraaien. And that is why we call this in English the Weaver's Tower. And it is the Weaver's Tower because this was the location where women said farewell to their husband. Most of the years were there because there was a reason for the women to be afraid to never see their husbands again, because in those days 50% of the sailors that left died at sea. And that could be from diseases, because there was often a lack of fresh food or fresh water. Sometimes it was an encounter with an enemy ship, and that could be a battleship or a pirate ship. And sometimes it was Mother Nature that made an end to a journey, that heavy storms made ships end at the bottom of the sea. This is also the location where a guy named Henry Hudson set sail. He was an English captain, he was sailing for this VOC, and he was convinced that there was a short way to Asia. He thought that short way was over the North Pole. We don't know exactly what went wrong, but he ended up in a complete different area. He liked it there, he decided to settle there. He started to trade with the locals and he named that place New Amsterdam. And you know New Amsterdam nowadays as New York. So in fact you can say that the people from Amsterdam are the founders of the city that we nowadays call New York. And still today there are names in New York that remind of this. A lot of details and ornaments in this building are created by brick and that is typical Amsterdam. In this building they have a so-called paternoster elevator, which is a defaulting elevator that keeps going up and never stops. You have to up on and off yourself when you arrive floor. This is a hotel nowadays, but that elevator is also still in this building and it still functions. And here at the left-hand side we see a Chinese restaurant, a floating restaurant. This is an old fish house. The people that work there had to operate the bridges in this area. But nowadays, bridges are operated from a distance in Amsterdam, so we don't need these houses anymore. Nowadays, that is a one-room hotel. You can see
One-room hotel?
There are 28 of these houses in Amsterdam, nowadays operated by this hotel company. The company is called Canal. And do you see these little glass houses outside? They placed them during the pandemic. It made it possible for us to go out for dinner. 2 people fit in a house. They serve the food and they place it outside on the table, so there was no waiter needed to bring you the food. So you could get your food yourself. Piscina. Ja. Con un sauna.
Una sauna.
Sì. This big building is our maritime museum. It was built as a warehouse for the Navy. So the Navy is the Navy. They also had gunpowder and cannons and guns. So also gunpowder was stored in this building, and that is why it is in this location outside the city center. So in case of an explosion, not the whole city will get damaged. And this ship is the Amsterdam. This is the kind of ship that VOC sailed into Asia in the 1600s and 70s. Stores enemy ships. Now in the old Jewish neighborhood of Amsterdam, before World War II we had around 75,000 Jews living here, but a lot of them were deported and killed in Germany, so this is an area with especially in the dark, the big building. And all the from above you can read the word for peace. Natural body of water in Amsterdam. All the canals are hand-made. And this river also is Amsterdam its name. Amsterdam means nothing more or less than a dam in the Amstel. And the dam is down square in Dutch.
Bis dili lang kita naglantaw sa
the Royal Palace.
ano, di ba?
We're now going into the Amsterdam Canal. The canal in front of us is the Herengracht, or the Gentleman's Canal. And that is always been the most exposed canal in the city center. This one, in a way, you can see these big houses is a way of showing off. Nowadays, you buy a big watch or a big car, but in those days, you do a big house.
Beautiful ride.
So these first buildings here at the right hand side are normal sized Amsterdam houses, but then you can see a much bigger house. In that canal you can see 7 bridges, and the first bridge will be just around the corner. Ariana wil naar de fles gaan.
Wow.
In this canal you can see that the houses are near the side again. Here at the left is building.
Wish granted.
Ang dami, oh, yes.
Warehouses built for goods.
There's a lot.
In the old days there were no windows in these buildings, only these wooden doors. And that was of course because luxury was not needed for cargo. And I just told you about the taxes. Number 22 is one of the smallest houses in the city center. We have a lot of crooked buildings in Amsterdam, and that is because Amsterdam is built on a swamp.
Yeah.
So the first people that came to this area, they found lots of water, little land, and if there was land, it was too wet to build. So they decided to put long wooden poles into the ground. Ariana, regulier naar de Rinseekruiskijzer. So they put long wooden piles into the ground, 15, 20, sometimes 30 meters long. They rest on the sandy floor that is beneath the soil, and on top of these poles, the houses were built. So all old houses in the city center are built on wooden poles. They are wooden building. That is a temporary church. But I think that temporary in Amsterdam means something else in your own country, because this building is used already for that purpose. He was the first king, and he made Amsterdam the capital of his country. And well, normally you should think that The Hague would be the capital, because that is where our government resides, that is where our king lives, but he hated The Hague. He didn't want to live in The Hague, he decided to live in Amsterdam, and he made Amsterdam the capital. That is also why we have a royal palace here in the city. But when we're now entering the Prinsengracht, the Prince's Canal. This is the longest of the canals in the city center. In this canal you can find all kinds of houseboats. And skippers in Amsterdam sometimes give nicknames to houseboats.
Wow.
So this first one here at the right hand side, the grey one, we like to call this the submarine. And the second boat here at the left hand side also has a nice nickname. This is an office boat, by the way, not a houseboat. This brown boat we call the Kim Kardashian.
Oh. Yeah. Now I realized.
But seriously, this canal is really famous for 2 big parties every year. The first one will be next month. The 27th of April is King's Day in the Netherlands, our King's birthday. It is a holiday, and here in Amsterdam it is really celebrated big. On a normal day it takes me around 45 minutes to do this canal from beginning to end. On King's Day it can take 3 to 4 hours. This canal is then full with small boats, with people partying, having fun, drinking wine, drinking beer. And the second party that we have each year is in the first week of August. It is Pride Week in Amsterdam, the first week of August, and on the Saturday of Pride Week we always have a big boat parade in this canal. And that is a parade with 80 big ships, as big as the one coming up here at the left, full with people dancing, music, DJs aboard, and then there are 500,000 people watching it here on the side. And that is every first week of August. Well, and as you can see, as soon as the sun is out, people in Amsterdam fill terraces. I told you earlier about the expensive rental prices in Amsterdam. It's 5 months ago that I read in a newspaper that at that moment Amsterdam was the second most expensive city in Europe to live in. More expensive than cities like London and Paris. And I always thought that these cities are more expensive than Amsterdam. It was in that same week that I was in this canal and I saw a for sale sign on the window of the attic of that lower building with the green curtains. And I was curious, so I grabbed my phone and checked the internet and I saw it was for sale. It was this building. It was for sale, it was 15 square meters, and it was listed for 350,000 euros. It was sold in 3 days. And that tells something about the craziness in our housing market at the moment. Amsterdam is getting too expensive for a lot of people that you really want in your city, like school teachers and nurses and police officers. Anymore, so they took them all down, and they didn't know exactly what to do with the area, but the only thing they do is actually have a public function, so they decided to build the city hall. But to remind them of the fact that this was a Jewish neighborhood, that place is get stone here, and in Hebrew and in Dutch you can read that this is the memory of the Jewish people that used to live here. Around the city hall you see this market. This is the Waterloo Square market. This is the oldest and the biggest flea market in the Netherlands. It is famous for all the old stuff that you can buy here, like vintage clothes, old books, old records and other stuff. But also a lot of second-hand bicycles. That is also an old entrance to the city. And that is for a shop.
Bigger version of Amsterdam. Kabayan! Hello, kabayan!
Duterte! 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 Kasi makitid na to eh. hindi, hindi.
Perfect.
There are a few reasons for that. One is that when it's in Amsterdam,
Thank you so much.
The best pride ever.